Louder with Crowder is brought to you in part by .com.
Now, after Blacko Mugskabar made his point to the SPLC loud and clear, YouTube decided to enlist the help of some unexpected allies. See, they needed private companies to do their bidding, free from the constraints of a non-profit organization. So what better than one of the largest entertainment corporations in the world? If Blacko sent a message, YouTube decided that it was time to send one back.
¿Qué putas madres? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Todos que encargué? ¿Y verás que esto? ¿Y regreso? Pero me pensé, bravas naves. Entonces, Fox, que no esperes. Moclaves de vida, que se refiere América cubano. Atacó, fin de semana, avocado mixto. Eso fue una galería. Cicoles, tabernac y mericonas. You're supposed to be dead. Jihadi Bani, he killed you.
So I've been told.
How did you?
Your preservation of Mug Club in my absence is much appreciated. All your tremendous work has not gone unnoticed. Even Brendan.
You were dead. I had to take over. I had to take charge.
Tell me, Blacko, do you feel in charge? I missed it. The scent of fear, of intimidation. It is palpable. But it is misplaced. I've returned, not as an adversary, but an ally, a liberator. I've heard of your conflicts with the SPLC, of the false DMCAs from the rodents, of your run-ins with the glorified Latinx at Vox.
I have it under control.
No, Blacko. That is merely a delusion. Though I appreciate your zeal, it warms my cockles. There are far more sinister forces afoot than even you realize. But hear this promise. If you follow me, I will lead you and restore Mug Club to its former glory. And together we will fight. We will win. And we will restore Mug Club to a power the likes of which YouTube has never seen.
Strange animal.
Yes. That's a nice sip on a cold day. Cold front coming here through Texas and basically everywhere. So we actually feel a kinship with a guest we're going to have on the show today. Big day. BJ Dichter. That's his actual name. BJ Dichter is one of the members of the trucker convoy for freedom over there in Canada. We have him live on the ground. The reason we're late today is because he actually drove off in a ditch because their roads were a little sleety and naily. So looking forward to having him on. We have a lot of other stories to get to. But yeah, showing some support with our Canadian brethren here. We're all wearing our toques. Dave, control room, even Gerald.
I hate every one of you right now.
Well, you know what? We ran out of... We don't necessarily have a Jim Henson budget here.
No, listen, you handed this to me first, and there was a full bin behind you.
You got a nice vagina toque.
You did this to me.
That's what it is. It's a nice snook toque.
Dichter, hell, damn near killed her.
So, geez, come on. Let's not make fun of the man's name. Oh, I got to lift my... Now
I'm not. It's just that
it's messing with the seal on my
headphones. It's the at the end. It's not his fault.
All right, I'll do it this way.
No way, it's so comfy.
Before we move on with everything else, by the way, if you want us to continue Mug Clubhouse, let us know down below. And
yes,
it's a live show Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I know today we're late, but YouTube notifications, subscriptions don't always work. So if you miss us here on YouTube, go to Rumble, go to Mug Club, where today we have a full additional hour, including some Neil Young songs, which could never be played on YouTube. And yeah, Mug Club, consider joining up. That's the only way we make, because YouTube doesn't pay us nothing. So my question is, how much do you know about the Canadian convoy going on? That is the question of the day. A lot of Americans don't necessarily know how important it is, how much it affects you here. And of course, now when we see Facebook removing similar groups in the United States, just took a 20-something percent nosedive their stock.
25%.
So you take the wins where you can get them. Whoopi's gone. Facebook taking a nosedive. And let's take another win here. Look, I don't care who's running the country as it relates to this, whether it's former Vice President Joe Biden or President Harris, President Donald Trump. The leader of ISIS, Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi, I hope I'm getting that right.
Oh, how couldn't you be?
Was killed in Syria. Yeah, that's what people will be upset about. Like, well, you didn't get his name right. Yeah, okay, you know what? Fine. I'll check my white privilege when he stops banging 6-year-old girls. How about that?
Putting 83 octaves in your name.
Yes. I don't have the back of the throat spit enough because we're all a little bit sick. So the Pentagon stated that, if we're trusting what the Pentagon says, that the man actually triggered a bomb, which killed himself and, unfortunately, 13 civilians, including 4 women and 6 children. No U.S. casualties. Look. Well, first off, hey, you know what? This guy's dead, so take that win. Good on you, America. Right?
Yeah!
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but
I feel like another one bites the dust would have been appropriate as well.
Sand. Another one bites the sand.
You would with that hat.
You just play the Lawrence of Arabia theme.
Another one bites the pillow.
Now, here,
come on.
13 civilians killed, 4 women, 6 children. Look, this is terrible, obviously, a coward. And I think it's also a testament to when people say the United States is just as evil as these other countries. Look, the United States, obviously, I don't think we should police the world. I'm more of a non-interventionist. I don't believe in most of these foreign wars. You guys know that pretty well. But when was the last time you've heard of a general? Do you remember Patton blowing himself up and taking out 6 kids?
Yeah.
MacArthur? It's not something we do. Let's not act as though there's a moral equivalency, okay? This is a man who cares so little about the people for whom he's fighting that he killed them. He killed them in a coward's way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
It's not true at
I
all.
prefer Muhammad Ali Ermi.
No.
What are you about to call me an asshole?
Yes, I was.
Points out
Look,
that's
this
not
guy,
true.
if he's like, all right, I'm about to die, here's your options. Go out and fight, which I don't want him to go out and kill American troops, so don't get me wrong. Of
course not.
I'm glad that he didn't take anybody of our side with him. That's the win. But you just killed 6 women and children, 4 children on top of that. I mean, go outside and blow yourself up, asshole. I'm sorry.
It's not about killing women and children. It's about ethnicity.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Not about race, child.
Just you sounded a little roomy to me.
I'm totally
hearing your
fine.
echo. It could just be because my hat is ruining the seal on my head.
I think it is.
So, yeah, look, that's a good thing, and I think we want to be consistent. Look, like when Rush Limbaugh got into all this trouble, God rest his soul, he said, I want Obama to fail. People said, no, he didn't want America to fail.
No.
He wanted Barack Obama to fail in implementing his policies. I don't want America to fail. If America is going to fight ISIS, I want us to fight them and win. Yeah. I just don't think that Americans have the stomach for war anymore. If you're going to go to war, you only go into war to win, to destroy people, break stuff, and reap the spoils. This is the problem here. Good thing he's dead. Don't necessarily know what we're doing at this point.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is anyone else sort of is that fair?
And the timing to me seems just a little weird. I'm not saying that this had anything to do with it, but Biden is looking for every possible win he can get right now, and so I'm just wondering, like, okay, why now? And it totally could have been legit. Like,
I thought you were
legit, totally fine.
I thought you were implying that Zucker or Stelter at CNN called like, this was supposed to be on a Friday. We need to bury it. Blow yourself up. He's defecting.
I had sex with somebody, and I'm resigning now because of you.
Well, he's blowing himself up just with little Debbie's.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a different blow up.
It'd be like that Hostess Twinkie commercial where the shark sees the person in the inner tube.
Yeah.
Stelter.
Ooh.
I'm more of a Lunchables man. I can fit it in my Merce. All the fun you can pack into a Merce. Now.
I didn't realize this was fruit-filled.
Also, I should introduce everyone. Gerald A is here. There you go. How
I'm
are you
unhappy.
doing? Okay.
Well, because of this.
All right.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Person responsible for
I'm
making
fine. It
me
was
wear
the
this?
easiest driving to work ever today. People in Texas can't drive in the ice. I made it 10 minutes door to door because there was no one.
Well, it was because
No
there
one
was
on the
actually grip on the roads.
Yes.
With
Also,
ice,
I ran the red lights because there was no one. It was like a
Well, that's
Maxville.
that's
Yeah.
the fun part.
Yeah. It's
that
unconstitutional.
Allegedly
too.
ran the red
Did you?
lights.
Yeah.
There was one light
It's
where
the
it's like
Detroit thing.
Yes, well, of course. That's a different reason. But mine is there's a light on the way here where it's two parking lots. You know the one I'm talking about. There's a bank and there's a McDonald's. It's a parking lot, and it's a light as though it's a major intersection.
Not
They're
so
like, what the hell am I stopping for this light? These restaurants aren't even open right now.
You should just keep going.
I just kept going.
The lights are
hold on. Allegedly kept
unacceptably
going. You don't
long
want to
here.
admit to running a
I allegedly kept going.
allegedly. Well, you couldn't stop and hit the brakes because you would have slid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I do is I hit the brakes where I'm like, oh, no. Oh, and then I just drift right through the red.
Shouldn't have been crossing with the carriage, lady.
Man, I tried so hard to stop, and I didn't.
And he's here with me now. You know him. You love him. He'll be in Denver this week. But also, I'll be touring with him. The tickets are now on sale for Royal Oak, Michigan. Go to loudoutcrider.com/tour. I will be doing stand-up with Dave Landau. We have March 26th in Indiana.
Yeah.
Then we have somewhere in Royal Oak, Michigan. Was it April?
April 16th, the Royal Oak Music Theater. It's a great venue, dude.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So
Well, the tickets are selling out really fast in Evansville.
Evansville, we're going to have to add
on
another show. So jump on it if you guys want to do it. Okay. Let me move on here before we have to get to our guest today. So we have to make sure that we stay on time, which is not our strong suit.
Whoops.
My strongest suit is birthday. Now, we've had our qualms, obviously, with Russia, Putin, right? None of us Russia, Putin fans, just like yesterday. We had to clarify Hitler, Mao, both bad.
Both bad. Yeah, real bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the Russian women, particularly the ones who looked like they were pulled from Into the Woods, they are more based than you would expect. There's a man on the street, and it's not like Jordan Klepper. It's not like jaywalking, because you could die because of Russia. And this is from some grandmas, I guess, on the Russian Reddit, I guess is where it was found. They definitely have their issues with, you could say, the new world government, internationalism. Here you go. Just watch.
Хотели бы вы, чтобы Россия вступила в НАТО и Евросоюз?
Да пошли вы нафиг с этим НАТО, не хочу я ничего. Почему НАТО оборзело?
Что она вам сделала?
Что она нам не сделала?
Не хотела бы.
А почему?
That's exactly what I would imagine an old Russian lady looks like.
И считаю, что нам с ними не по
Oh,
пути.
yeah.
А в 2007 году Владимир Владимирович вообще сказал, я за то, чтобы от Лиссабона до Владивостока было общее мировое пространство. Для Америки это смерть. Надо обернуться к собственным традициям, прежде всего. И включить мозги. А не трансгендерами, там 40 видов. Европа — это периферия на самом деле. Ну, именно поэтому рвались американцы и в Крым. Но сейчас, скорее всего, будут ставить ракеты рядом со Штатами. Как это было в 60-е годы.
I love how in the States you ask them a basic question, right, and a lot of people can't answer. Of course, it's selectively edited. That's why we don't do that here. But over there, you ask them one question, and they give you a brilliant answer on international politics. Like,
Yeah.
this is why the U.S., for those listening on audio, this is why the U.S. needs to start thinking with their brains and not have 40 genders. This is your problem. You are not following science. And I think that you will no longer be a great superpower because you are making mistake. And the person's just interviewing like, what do you think about the Kardashians? Big S's, not for me.
I like how she
Don't like
quickly threatened nuclear war.
Yes.
Just from a man on the street question. She's
Yes.
like, yeah, I think we'll put nukes right next to your country. See how you like that?
I like how every woman interviewed was beautiful.
Yes. Get that.
On the
Imagine that shows up
inside.
on your mail order bride. You're like, Amazon Prime,
Is there a return policy?
Yes, can I just put a label on this and leave it on the porch?
This isn't Prime. This isn't even chuck roast.
Ouch.
Are you made of meth?
They don't have meth.
face.
It's
I
just
know,
vodka.
but they still have the face. though.
They can't get to make
They
meth
have-
because they drink the antifreeze.
They have vodka face.
Why would you use this to make meth when you can just drink? And that's sink cleaner. I know, it's good.
Oh, boy.
You tie belt to hand because it's shake from, withdrawal.
Yes.
And then you bring belt around neck.
Yes,
up to
exactly.
mouth.
It is like pulley
Yes.
or old lady Russian drink.
Instead is the hand. Makes you feel good.
Or sometimes I have my grandson put my hip on seesaw so I drink from that like bird on desk.
Yes. 1 in 8 grandsons survive.
Yes. That's why we have 19. Also, we cannot afford contraception or bread. Or as your Bernie says, that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
You need to stop with stupidity.
You wait in line for a Disney roller coaster. I wait for still loaf.
And lowest jeans.
Yes, very low. Mama jeans.
By the way, before we move, hey, speaking of Russians, obviously they share a kinship with, guess who else?
Oh.
African Americans. It's Black History Month here at Lotto's Crowder.
Uh-oh.
Some facts regarding, because we celebrate it here. We
do.
honor Black History Month.
Honor.
I wish it was a longer month. On April 15th, 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the decades-old color barrier, became the first ever major league baseball player who was black, not in the Negro League, as
Joe Biden said.
former Vice President Biden said.
Brought up from the farm league.
Yeah, and then you have a stat on the NFL here.
I do. Jim Brown, who I like a lot, led the NFL in rushing yards for 8 out of his 9 seasons. By the time he retired, Jim had shattered almost every major rushing record there was. He is still considered to be one of the greatest football plegers to ever grace the field.
And wife beaters. Also, if a white man can finish a whole bucket of Nashville hot chicken without dying or choking, he legally gets to coach an NBA team.
That's true.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's an automatic thing. I don't even think it's state. It's a federal thing. This has been Black History Month here at Lotto's Crowder. Okay.
I thought you just got a free meal and stuff like that, but they really upped their game.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of Black History Month, I was watching CNN this morning, so you don't have to. All references available at loudoscrowder.com. And Don Lemon,
Don Lemon.
you guys thought he was gone. You think he's never gone. That's the whole point. He was on CNN promoting his new show on CNN Plus, which is their streaming service.
Right.
Watch out, Paramount.
CNN plus Q.
Yes. CNN
AAIP.
plus eggplant emoji. Oh,
I'm in.
Stelter, get in here.
Oh, boy.
It's getting salacious. Bring your mirth.
Hey, Stelter, it's Don. Come in here and make lemonade.
Yes. Can you bring your Dunkaroos? I always have Dunkaroos. I'm made of mostly Dunkaroos.
I hate that channel.
Don Lemon was promoting Don Lemon Plus on CNN. I was watching the ad, and he really thought that this was a selling point. It's just so funny that they're promoting CNN Plus on CNN. Here's Don Lemon's new ad for those of you who are interested.
I'm Don Lemon, and I'm Don Lemon Plus. We may look alike, but we're different. Yeah, on CNN Plus, I have even less of a filter. Really? Are you sure that's good for us?
No, don't touch my mustache. No!
We'll see.
I can't wait.
That thing is going to go down in flames so quickly.
I mean, how many
mean the-
sex offenders can you fit into a green room?
They have
CNN?
trouble. Yeah, they have trouble getting people to watch their channel for free.
Yeah.
God,
And that's when everyone's tuned in at the airport. It's someone who's
Yeah.
stuck at Bojangles in Charlotte, like,
Exactly.
I got it.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
you
if
meant
we didn't
the
mention
flames
them,
are
no
going
one.
to go down.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love the idea of CNN Plus. This is fantastic.
Well, while in Russia, they deal with
pay
real
for that?
problems. In the Ukraine, they deal with real problems.
Yeah.
I don't want to minimize the problems, but I'm about to minimize some problems. A mother has opened up, this is a story now, about her Now, this is going to sound really sinister, okay? And you'll think I'm making light of it until you remember now that it's not real. A mother opened up about her traumatizing gang rape, in Facebook's metaverse.
Ah, yes.
Yes. So
Avatar, huh?
Yeah.
Stephen, look, I appreciate that you want to make jokes about these things, but this is something that's a really sensitive subject matter, near and dear to my heart, and I'd like to take this one, okay?
I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, by all means.
If you think that... Nina Jane Patel said, within 60 seconds of joining, I was verbally and sexually harassed. 3 to 4 male avatars with male voices.
I had the voice.
Essentially, but virtually gang raped my avatar and took photos.
Well, that wasn't even consensual.
No, as I tried to get away, they yelled, "Don't pretend you didn't love it." And go rub yourself off to the photo.
It's okay, Gerald, let him get through it. This is good for him. I'm just glad we're here to see it. Yeah.
Harassment in the metaverse is a serious issue. And the industry needs to come on together. You shouldn't come on anything. Come together on to put in place the correct security controls and safety measures.
Well, you know what? We talk about common ground on the show. I think we can all get behind that.
We can, yes.
Yeah.
No avatar left behind.
No.
Do I say SK Golden Corral?
No.
No.
Is that a different thing?
I don't know. When she tried to get away, she said, when I tried to run away by pressing up on the D-pad. I'm sorry, Dave. By the way, hey, those listening on audio, because that was really for the audio listeners,
really.
and those who are not, you can, of course, subscribe to the podcast on
I
Apple,
just-
Android,
I guess-
and Spotify, which will be labeled misinformation, even though that is a real story. Dave just read it word for word. Yeah, Dave.
No, I just think it's very serious to rape an avatar.
Yeah, I know.
Dave, can you tell us, was it 3 or 4? I mean, you said 3 to 4.
I'm not a counter.
Yeah,
Paying
it was.
attention.
He's not a CPA. The point is, it was traumatic.
No.
Couldn't
I
you zoom
don't-
out and tell us how many?
Look, I don't have to audit my rapist's penises.
Yeah.
I'm not like, hey, get me a count.
Do you know that 92%
Can't write it off.
of metaverse rapes go unclaimed? They go
Unreported.
unprosecuted. They don't even get the digital rape.
It's
kits.
embarrassing. No,
Yes.
it's very embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. You show up to the digital. You don't show up to the digital downtown. The police office. They have their pixelated swab.
And they rape you again.
Dave, what was your avatar wearing? I'm just trying to help.
My avatar.
I'm not saying victim blame of avatars. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Good,
think
because-
I think you are. My avatar was wearing a pink pussy hat and glasses.
Yep.
Oh,
That wasn't really what did it. It was more so the chaps,
Well,
yeah. Yes.
which usually go with the chaps or the French maid
and
outfit.
I don't
Because you have to buy it with NFTs too.
That's true. You do.
Also, try not going to the gang rape avatar room.
Well,
You should avoid that chat.
That
I
is a
thought-
bad.
That's a good
That's
point.
a bad place to be.
I thought it was an ironic title.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
You
wasn't.
never know.
No.
You never know. That's the thing. It's not. You never know, Gerald.
You're right. I'm sorry.
It's an epidemic.
It is. It's
I liked
endemic.
it. I liked it a lot.
Please just tell me that no police resources were wasted on this.
Only avatar police who actually joined in. Who
Can
knew?
you digitally kill yourself? Can you do that?
I've tried.
Oh, well.
You can, but you come back.
Stupid.
Gosh, you respawn. That's a cheat. Okay, here's another thing going on.
hope they figure
United
out a way to
States,
do it.
a United States skier. While we're talking about the Winter Olympics, they kick off in Beijing next
Yeah.
week, which I don't understand why we're taking part. I feel like we shouldn't have anything to do with communist countries.
Nah.
Period. But that's me, Mr. Traditional.
How's America going to be in it?
America's best freestyle skier, Eileen Gu,
Go!
also is
it Go?
Stelter's. That's what I'm made of.
Oh.
She won't
I
be.
love goo.
she
I
won't-
have it for breakfast.
She won't be donning the stars and stripes, but this is an American. The sickle and hammer. Here you go.
Born in San Francisco to an American father and a Chinese mother, Eileen announced in 2019 that she would ski for China at the Beijing Games. Eileen seems to be aware of the political sensitivity around China. On Chinese social media
That's a nice
platform
word.
Weibo, her
Right, yeah.
posts focus on her self-identification as a Chinese athlete and role model for her 1 million followers. This while the U.S. government announced a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics over concerns about China's poor human rights record. But if China needs a national hero, Eileen seems ready for the job.
An American.
So to be able to introduce just one young girl to skiing and change her life the way that mine was changed is something that's inexorable and so worth doing. And because there's so many
And I'm
idols
taller than all of them.
and I think that in China there's so much more opportunity.
Oh, there's so much more opportunity in China. Somewhere behind her, there are throngs of Uyghurs going, no. Just death. Just a kill for not opportunity. You mispronounce death or torture.
There's no way she's more than quarter Asian.
I doubt it.
She's blonde.
And by the way, I'm sure she picked China just for the inspiring young athletes.
That's true.
Yeah, it couldn't have anything to do. She's good enough, by the way. This thing could win 3 gold medals. Has nothing to do with finances, I'm sure.
No, not at all. It can't be a money play.
So
at
explain
all.
to people who don't know.
Right. So this whole story. So Gu, she actually announced to the world she'd be skiing for China in 2000. And is it Gu or Go? I don't even know at this point.
G-U. I don't know how to
Gu.
pronounce it.
Okay, Gu. Right.
Gu.
She decided to ski for China in 2019. So she was preparing for the 2020.
Yes.
So here's a quote: "I've decided to compete for China in the upcoming 2022."
Now read it like Goo. I have decided to compete for China on 2022 Olympics.
This was incredibly tough
she
decision
talks.
for me to make.
Sorry, I'm competing for China, and then
She has to be Chinese when she's there. That's true. So since
she's like their equivalent of Kamala Harris. Like,
Yes.
I was listening to Yo-Yo Ma back in 1968.
Well, look. So there's obviously a lot of people that are pissed off about this. And we'll get to some of the reasons why, but this is possibly one of them. Since she announced that
she's a traitor.
Well, that too. But here's the thing: the question is why? Like, why would she do that if she could ski in the United States and for the U.S. and still win gold medals?
Right.
She's inked deals with Victoria's Secret, Tiffany, IWC, and of course Beats by Dre, very big in China. This makes sense.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah. Well. Not
It's
a
a
lot,
honey.
not a lot of secrets, but some.
What's the secret? All A cups?
Well, not a lot of women in China to market to, I thought, with the one-child policy, but we'll get to that.
Well, they also sell foot bindings that say juicy. So I don't know. It's
Well,
different
I mean,
cultures.
look, it does make a little bit of sense because China is obviously one of the biggest economies in the world, and they're on track to be the top place for luxury goods by 2025. So I guess that makes sense. But she has 23 endorsement deals from Chinese companies, including just a few: Bank of China, China Mobile, and Mignu. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but here's the interesting part. Each one of those deals is worth roughly about $2.5 million. So far more.
I don't know. In my brain, I think in yen. China. Just for crying out loud. It's just everyone is looking to be marginalized for some group. Like, I think it's really important that the Chinese are. How about you inspire the Chinese athletes there to defect and get their ass out of China where they're oppressed? Hey, how many girls are there in China who look up to you? You know, the ones who made it through the bathtub Holocaust.
Right, exactly. Or we're not left on a mountain somewhere to die slowly of starvation, right? So it's uncertain really how she can do this.
Right now.
No, you're not.
What?
It's really uncertain how she can do this legally and be able to ski for China because they don't allow dual citizenship for any of their athletes, right? So it's not like Canada and America where you have dual citizenship and you're like, oh, I didn't make it.
Yeah, you have to renounce your citizenship.
Exactly, in there, right? So she has to renounce it, and she was only 15 when she apparently did that. Well, here's the problem with that. The rub is, in the United States, for you to be able to renounce it, you have to be at least 16 years of age. So there's a lot of questions to whether she can actually legally have done this, if she was announcing it at the time, and there's some kind of foul play with China. We really don't know.
See, I think that if you commit, if you're a traitor or if you commit treason, I think we should just have one age. Like what? I can commit treason, but I can't drink a beer with my buddies. It should be. It should be 18 across the board.
Just be
and rental insurance.
Yes, well that too. 25, the golden. Yeah.
Well, for Chinese drivers, it's 45.
Well,
are they good skiers though?
Who, Chinese?
Yeah.
I don't know that they have a strong team.
I feel like they're not. I feel like it's joining the Lions
yeah.
to win a Super Bowl.
Well, they're just knocking the Tibetans off the Himalayas. No, this is my hill now. Go to Bunny Slope with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, good
for
rock.
7 days.
Look, we understand. Look, the
It's
Olympics
some
are
mogos.
about being good
And
at
some
your sport.
mongos.
They're about competing against the best in the world. And money sometimes is a problem. But if you're one of the best athletes out there, typically you do pretty well. She was one of the best in the United States. So she was going from having millions of dollars in sponsorship to having more millions of dollars in sponsorship.
Right.
This isn't somebody working at Home Depot featured in the ad, barely making it through life, right?
It's like Fast and the Furious in the Chinese market.
Exactly. So look,
Everyone's not a thing.
A post on Red Bull's website that said Gu renounced her citizenship was actually taken down after they were contacted by the Wall Street Journal. And obviously the idea in China that some U.S. skier that's fantastic actually renounced their citizenship and is leaving to go there is fantastic for them. They're laughing at us saying like this is a huge win for China.
This woman shouldn't be allowed back in the country.
Well, so that's the thing. Like,
she should never be allowed back in this country. She has made
the passport.
She has made her tiny wooden bed. She should be forced to lie.
She should lie in it with the foot bindings that come along with it.
Right? They say juicy.
Right. So she grew up in California with access to the best training facilities, the best coaches. She skied in Lake Tahoe. She had an American father, a Chinese mother, but she was born here. Again, no dual citizenship at all.
That's like Kim Jong-il went to a school in the States with, like, was it Benjamin Netanyahu?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. It's like, just capture him. Don't let him go back. Or no, he studied in Switzerland, I think.
Well,
like that. But it's surprising how many foreign evil dictators come to the United States. Like, I did my pre-law at Yale and then killed 2 million people.
We had to figure out how to do it.
I did my residency in a concentration camp.
Yeah. So keep in mind, though, that China's one-child policy didn't end until 2015. We just mentioned it, literally. So do you think she would have had the same access to the coaches and the ability to ski and to go out and do that and be trained and all of these things? Or do you think she would have even survived to be a skier or an athlete?
It's now a 3-child limit, too.
It's a 3-child limit now. Oh, okay. So if she was number 4, that's the unlucky number 4.
So I can have 2 boys and maybe 1 girl, depending how I feel at hospital.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, guess
I prefer
what?
3 boy.
You're having a quintuplet, which means you get to choose.
So here's a quote I want to read to you from her. I'm just not going to answer Dave at all.
Which
in a 2022 interview with the South China Morning Post, Gu said, "Nobody can deny I'm American. When I go to China, nobody can deny I'm Chinese."
Well, legally, that's wrong.
Hold on. Time out. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Because you benefited from the system set up here, and now you're going over there for a money play.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You never get an American passport again. That's totally fine.
That's very similar to, by the way, China. They benefit from the American capitalist system with trade, and then they say that, the decadence of the West. The truth is, if we actually cut back on our technology trading, right? They talked about it would harm China far more than the United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we don't want to go to war, hey, you know what? Start off with not just diplomacy, writing a letter, but tighten the vice a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Oh, you're killing girls? Oh, you're not allowing people to be free? Oh, you're actually committing genocide against the Uyghurs? Guess what? We're not going to blow you up, though we'd kind of be justified. We're just not going to allow you to have access to our modern technology that was developed under the, of course, free enterprise system that you hate so much.
Right.
That's the issue, and this is just a person who's embodying it.
It's basically just flip-flopping, right? And I know the Olympics are coming up, and I know people tend to watch them. I mean, it's still pretty popular, even though I don't think fans are allowed this year. But she's basically saying that I look American and I look Chinese or I sound these ways. Well, hold on. You've totally missed out on what being American is. It's an idea.
Yeah.
This isn't about looking a certain way or sounding a certain way. It's about espousing certain principles. And you've gone to the country that espouses the exact opposite of freedom.
Yeah.
And you've done it for money using freedom to piggyback off of, right? But here's another thing. So look, if you're really mad right now, if you're a little bit pissed off that this person did that, that's fantastic.
We're not that mad.
We're not about boycotts or anything like that. Boycotts are fantastic. And in this case, we want you to support an American skier, 17-year-old Hannah Fallhaber, Gu's biggest American competition in the halfpipe, who has a pretty good shot of winning as well. So if you're going to watch the Olympics, when this girl comes on, Eileen Gu, make sure you give her no cheer, no applause whatsoever.
Well,
support
because this
American skiers.
This American here, Hannah, probably not getting the same victory.
Listen, well,
what?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
more of an Old Navy.
Listen, she's like an REI girl. Come on.
Talbots.
Talbots.
At best.
Williams-Sonoma, just to piss
Talbots
you off.
written across her skis. A Chinese they had. Look, how an old lady ski. Old lady ski, Talbots.
By the way, you said you don't think we should compete. I disagree. I think that only hurts the athletes in these cases because you've got a very limited window to be able to compete. And I know sometimes it's more about something else going on in the world and a country doing stupid stuff. I get it, but it only hurts them. But we were very stern. We're not sending our delegation.
No, yeah.
That's what
you sit there and the media says this with a straight face, like a diplomatic boycott. What does that mean? You show up with a few signs?
Yeah, exactly. Or no, that you don't show up at all. Like,
no, they had people with signs there. You're doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, thank God Joe Biden's not going to come. We don't have to act like he's actually coherent.
Yeah, this is the issue here. Look, do you honestly think that the United States is on more stable footing with China? You can comment below with former Vice President Joe Biden. And this is what's also, think about it. The president who started no new major wars, Donald Trump, intimidated all the right people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. China started playing ball. Now it's like, yeah. No, now we take your skier.
Well,
now your skier belong to me.
I wouldn't be brutal about this, but I would absolutely be like, hey, totally fine. You want to immigrate to China? You want to naturalize as a citizen? All right, hand over that passport. Let's just make sure. If you want to come back, by the way, you're going to have to apply to be able to come back, just like everybody else that does that, right? To be able to come back on a temporary basis. Or if you want to work here and make money in the United States, you need to get a worker's permit. We got to do all this stuff because you've just renounced U.S. citizenship.
Right. And also, we would put her immediately on the do not accept list.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Like send her back for COVID.
Yeah. No, I think if you go and play for the people don't, this is again, it goes back to the idea of war.
Yeah.
Not just war. We're not at a war with China, but you know what? When sometimes people say, "Oh man, they want to have you all mixed up in your head with teams." No, teams do matter. And you don't get to be Team USA and Team China. You don't get to do it. You don't get to be a member of a team that requires you betraying and renouncing your other team. You want to ski for China? Great. Go live in China. You can't come back. And it's not the same as someone having dual citizenship between the United States and someone who was born in,
Finland.
Honduras, Finland, Switzerland, Canada. I don't even know if I still technically I probably still have a Canadian citizenship. I have no idea if I ever renewed it because I was born in the States but raised there. My mom's Canadian. But there's a big difference between that and a government that demands you renounce your American citizenship.
Yeah. And breaking the rules so that you can do it. So we'll see. If any more comes out, we'll let you know.
But I will have that Victoria's Secret catalog. Okay.
Open for a fall.
Before we have BJ Dichter, real name, on the ground from the convoy there in Canada. He's going to be calling in on the ground in a few minutes here in Canada to update us. There is a tie-in here a little bit. So let's talk about this first, Facebook, because, and this all goes back to, you see Spotify, what happened, and with Joe Rogan, and a lot of people have been talking. It's become sort of a cultural movement. Look, the left right now is on a censorship purge. Let me be clear about this. Spotify is just the beginning with they don't want a label. And by the way, you know that if Joe Rogan never uttered the words COVID-19 or coronavirus or pandemic, they still would have gone after him. It's about eliminating competition because all cable news programs combined don't have the listenership of Joe Rogan. And it's just him and one guy basically in a den, I think, in his house. I don't know. He used to have a studio there in Los Angeles. But the point is it's far lower budget, reaches far more people, and they can't have that. They need to keep their gatekeepers in place. That's what they require. And so the left right now, they have the same problem you see with Trudeau and the convoy. But we also addressed Jen Psaki the other day and Joe Biden complimenting Spotify, saying that they're not doing enough. Yeah. We also have other government officials, and this ties into Facebook that's trending right now, but for all the wrong reasons, other government officials demanding that Facebook get more aggressive with its censoring. So I'm sorry. By the way, this next person who we have, she's obviously held elected office, also has a Victoria's Secret catalog coming out. Here's AOC talking about Facebook.
Ooh. There are some things that the United States provide that are welcome. There's also things that we want the United States to stop exporting. And one of those things is disinformation. And disinformation through US-founded companies like Facebook that have absolutely slowed and frankly sabotaged the global effort to fight against the coronavirus.
Man, she hit all the liberal words there. Just like, if you were playing a word game, what's the over-under on her saying global, on her saying misinformation, right? Yeah. Think about this. She's saying we need a global government cabal, if you will, to determine what is permissible and what is impermissible. Now, I have a problem with Facebook, and I'll get to that in a second because we've actually been throttled on Facebook.
Different way,
we actually baked code into our page so that we could not become a show page. We've been censored nonstop on Facebook, and when people say it's not censorship unless it's government, well,
really?
Is it not considered government anymore when they say, oh, yeah, we are removing information on Facebook that is misinformation? Who's telling you it's misinformation? The government. The government's telling us, and we do what the government asks. They are just an arm. They're a bully pulpit for the government. So let me give you a couple of other examples of people tweeting this out. This is trending right now on Twitter. I don't know if it's trending on Facebook. I haven't checked Facebook in a long time. Delete Facebook is trending.
Love that.
Writer for The Atlantic, Molly Zhang-Fast, tweeted, Facebook doesn't need to be the toxic echo chamber it's become if Facebook contact managers cared. They would cut down on anti-vaccine content and various other lies, like Joe Rogan interviewing the creator of the mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
Doctors,
Real, honest-to-God doctors.
Not PhDs in philosophy,
right.
So they don't count. If you were on a plane and someone was choking, you say, do we have a doctor? And someone would pop up, like a Peter McCullough, like, not you. Does anyone have a doctor in humanities?
Wearing Beats by Dre.
Yes.
Doctor.
Author and
PhD from Harvard, and they're like, no, you don't.
Right.
And he's like, no, I do, though. What?
Were you published? Author and LGBTQ activist Amy Siskin tweeted, Facebook, we are the most despised brand for being a platform that spreads disinformation. Spotify, hold my beer. Of course, you all love Brianna Wu, progressive PAC director. She's around, said, Facebook is really on the path it deserves. It did nothing to rein in conservative hate speech and disinformation, and now its user base has stopped growing. No one wants to hang out with their crazy uncle. The meta play is a desperate and sad attempt to regain coolness. Now, see, you saw me do a change my mind, I think 6 or 7 years ago, that hate speech is not real. And people say, well, people can speak hatefully. Yep. But guess what? That was a Trojan horse that allowed it in. Now we have another one. Misinformation. What does that mean? Well, it's, what was considered a lie yesterday but is accurate today. So what is misinformation? Well, like 6 months ago, if you said that if you were vaccinated, you could still catch it or spread it, that was misinformation then, and it's not now. What about the Surgeon General saying, don't wear masks, they don't help? Well, no, that wasn't misinformation, but then it was misinformation, and it's not. So they can determine what it is. Hate speech? What is hate speech? Well, they can determine whatever hate speech is, and I'll get to this in a second. It's absolutely terrifying. Now, Facebook has seen a 25% nosedive in their stock. 200 million lost in market value. That's 18, the first drop in users in their 18-year history.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's the thing. They're bitching about misinformation, and what they're saying is, one side is saying, hey, we have a problem with Facebook, right? Us, here, people on the right, saying we have a problem with Facebook because they're eliminating voices. They're eliminating voices from the pool. And keep in mind, these people are bitching about an echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
Bitching about an echo chamber. Let's remove Joe Rogan. Let's remove Steven Crowder.
Doctors.
Let's remove James O'Keefe. Let's remove doctors. What has Facebook done? Well, right now, they just removed, actually, the Convoy to D.C. group. And this had 130,000 members.
Holy cow.
And this is something, of course, that was modeling the Canadian, obviously, Freedom Convoy. And we'll get to BJ Dichter in a second. But when we say, okay, we have a problem with Facebook, well, let me tell you exactly how I have a problem with Facebook. And the left just says they need to do more. This is why this is terrifying. These are elected officials, right, saying Facebook isn't doing enough. You need to remove more misinformation. Well, what has Facebook done? Facebook has throttled conservatives. Facebook removed the page of a sitting Republican president. Facebook removed the pages of doctors, by the way, early on in this pandemic. Remember when they said a lot of these measures aren't really working, which now has been confirmed by John Hopkins, by the CDC, by the WHO when they were talking about full lockdown measures. Yeah. Not even saying anything about masks because we could get removed from YouTube because, Jen Psaki made a call to Wojcicki. So this is what they've done. And, by the way, they're already labeling anything that is critical of Lord Fauci, anything that is critical of, let's say, mRNA vaccines, anything that is critical of the idea that we should have mass lockdowns. It's already being labeled misinformation. If you're watching this on YouTube, you probably have a warning label there. If you're watching a clip on Facebook, if we're still allowed to upload there, we're occasionally allowed, you're definitely seeing warning labels. So we have warning labels, we have conservative voices entirely banned, we have built-in throttling of pages. James O'Keefe's investigative journalism gets removed, even though it is fully in line with single-party consent laws. They don't abide by the laws of the states. They abide by the requests of the federal government. And you have people like AOC and Jen Psaki and Joe Biden saying they're not doing enough. So what do you think they want? They bitch about an echo chamber, but what is it they want? They are on a censorship purge. They think they smell blood in the water with Joe Rogan, and they want to remove voices that they don't agree with. I'm so past the silly libertarian argument that go create your own Facebook.
No, exactly.
This is not a free, open economy when the government can pressure them into doing their bidding. And Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, they've bragged about having meetings with government officials and being acquiescent. This is not an example of a private business saying, sure, you know what, we'll bake your cake. We're just not going to take part in a gay wedding. That is not the same thing as one of the biggest companies that has ever existed who receive countless tax benefits and protections under safe harbor laws, saying we're going to do exactly what the government tells us, and now the government's saying you're not doing enough. There are still people running against us who are on there. You got to get rid of them. Trump was a good start. James O'Keefe was a good start, but get rid of everybody else.
Right, and it's not just limited to health, right? Saying, oh, this is what's best for people, because you're actually affecting people's health. You're causing them to die. There's so many stories. The Hunter Biden laptop, the Russia stuff that was going on that they did let go through, right? Peeing prostitutes and everything else going on. And then they kicked something out that directly affected an election.
Hey, you know what? When we're talking about people's health, how about you stop removing posts critical of fat pride? How about that?
There we go.
How about you start removing posts of, doctors and medical experts and people from Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins? How about you stop removing, if you're so concerned about health?
How about Ron DeSantis talking to 3 doctors from places that are the most revered in the world? I believe it was Oxford, Stanford, and Harvard, right? Yeah. Having a conversation with his citizens at the time, sitting governor of one of the biggest states in the United States.
And before we go to Canada, the man BJ Dichter in Canada, look, when everyone talked about Donald Trump being an authoritarian fascist, okay, sent out some mean tweets, got it. Do you ever remember Donald Trump, let's say Ted Cruz, let's say Ron DeSantis, people you don't like, right? If you don't like them, can you point me to a single example of them saying, hey, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you need to remove more content. You need to get rid of these people. Or did you see them bitching about social media saying, you need to stop removing content? Yeah. There's a big, big difference. Look, the authoritarian regime is not the one that says, hey, people should have the right to more guns. Hey, people should keep more of their paycheck. Hey, people should be allowed to speak freely on all social platforms. You're going to say that's authoritarian and that's fascist, but not the government that wants to take away your right to self-preservation, to self-defense, and your right to speak freely, even if you're a qualified doctor? Listen, this is just the wordplay that goes on, the word fascist, authoritarian. It's never been the guy who says, take all the guns. Take all the guns and post anywhere, because that's how I get control, is by allowing you to protect yourself and speak freely. No, just because Joe Biden looks like he has pipe cleaners on his head and puts on a nice guy, gee golly, Will Rogers act, does not mean that this is not a dangerous, authoritarian time in our country. And you know why this is important, people? Look, we just said this yesterday, I don't want Whoopi Goldberg to be removed, and that wasn't censorship. That's a network. They have the right to do it. I think she made a silly statement, and of course I'll call her out for it. But I don't want to see people removed for opinions, and I certainly don't want to see it on social media, because all great civil rights revolutions start with speech. You give that power over, you don't get it back. And you see what's happening in Canada, and this is close to a civil information war. When you have what is the equivalent to the United States President, Prime Minister of Canada, it's a silly place. It's inconsequential, generally speaking, in comparison. Okay, we love our Canadian brethren. But you have the Prime Minister of the country speaking out and saying that there are certain views which are impermissible and shouldn't be allowed to be spoken or written. These are the people who are ironically called liberals, and these are the people trying to shut down really the only peaceful mass protest that I can think of the last half decade. There hasn't even been an injury in these Canadian protests. This has been admitted, by the way, by their own police force. They said, no, there could have been a really bad injury or something. But did it happen? No, they just put a Canadian flag on Terry Fox and then cleaned it up. Oh, all right. So peaceably assembling? I wouldn't go that far. What would you call it? Oh, scary. So remember, Trudeau called unvaccinated Canadians and now these trucker convoys, and we have BJ Dichter here who's on the ground to discuss it, racists, fascists, sexists, and said that they hold unacceptable views. In case you've forgotten, here he is.
Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination. Qui sont extrémistes. Qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing?
Done. Tyrant.
Do not represent the views of Canadians.
Don't even want to hear the rest. Unacceptable views. Done. Tyrant. Period. That's it. You've crossed the line. That's it. No leader of an allegedly free country gets to determine what is an unacceptable view outside of actual violent crime, of course. I need to say that. Done. That's it. You're a tyrant. He needs to be out. He also wrote this on Tuesday, tweeting, today in the House, members of Parliament unanimously condemned the anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, homophobia, and transphobia that we've seen on display in Ottawa over the past number of days. Oh. This written by a guy who's a blackface connoisseur. Well, it just so happens that we actually have one of these sexist, transphobic, racist truckers live on the show right now. All right.
How you doing, Stephen?
I am doing well. I can't see you yet. Hold on one second. Tim, the Toolman, is going to bring you up. For people who are watching, you can find him on the Twitter at BJ Dichter. He's one of the spokespeople for the truckers right now, the Freedom Convoy. He joined in late January. And by the way, PolitiFact says there's only in the hundreds to low thousands of protesters. We just heard that from the Prime Minister. I've heard numbers as high as 50,000. Mr. Dichter, thank you for being here. Can you clarify that for us?
Well, I would never accuse the left of being terribly good at math or finances or anything like that. So it's thousands. We have no idea. It's been, 2 weeks now, and we're still trying to aggregate data, see where certain teams are. People are on farmers' fields all over the country, and they're not. We can't get like a detailed account. We will eventually, but it's literally thousands. Stephen, I just want to comment on what you said before. You have a movement right now where the two spokespersons are a Métis woman and a Jew, but blackface is the tolerant one. That's the town world that we live in.
Well, no, hold on a second. I have to fact check you. By the way, if you could tilt the camera up a little bit, you have a wonderful clavicle and beard, but I do. There you go. I want to see the face. He's not just blackface. He was black body. He did his arms. He did his legs. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone love. I wish I loved anything as much as Prime Minister Trudeau loved blackface.
Banana?
Yeah.
Remember the banana he put in his pants? Like, what the hell, man?
And he sang the banana song. Dale. I mean, it couldn't be any worse, for crying out loud. Now, before we move on, what was that?
When was this?
Trudeau?
Yeah.
Oh, he did it like a million times. We'll show you.
Yeah, he lost track. He doesn't know how many times he did it. Remember?
No, same with blackface.
Yeah, I have to count his number of blackfaces. I have to use an abacus.
You count them with bananas.
Yes, exactly. And then it's like Donkey Kong, where you just do that level where you leave and go right back and you get the banana horde. That's how many times he did blackface. But let me ask you this. Hey, BJ, you were late today because you fell in a ditch, I understand, and we saw videos of people putting nails on the road yesterday. Is that what happened? Did you Mad Max? You got nails in your tires?
Maybe that's what I'll tell my insurance company. No, it's you remember how warm Canada is in the winter?
Yes.
Well, it's one of those days where it's a sheet of ice, and just the tail end slipped out, and the next thing I knew, I've never had that before in my life. Next thing you know, I was in a ditch in a tree. So we're off to a rocking start at the convoy today. It's only going to get better from here, right?
Right. Well, you were going to call us in front of Parliament. Where are you right now? It looks like you're at a truck stop.
Or a bingo hall.
I'm in Canada. Where else would I be?
Oh,
if
good
I'm in
point.
Canada, other than Tim Hortons, right? In a place that has no Uber, no rental cars. I don't have cellular signal. I don't know where I am, but I do have some people from the convoy going to rescue me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's wonderful. Those, racist, xenophobic Nazis helping.
You should see what the fake news media is doing to me, because I got up on the stage in front of, 30, 40, 50,000 people last week, and I gave concrete examples of what I call the fake news CBC. And I explained that last week they were running a series of stories that our GoFundMe was frozen from the very beginning. And I told my team, don't say anything. Don't correct them. I want to bait them. So they went the entire week reporting, it was for nefarious reasons or racist or whatever, phobe, whatever. But what was happening is we were just sharing paperwork back and forth. And it takes, GoFundMe is not the fastest when you set up a campaign.
Right.
Usually takes 7 to 10 days. I know that's exactly what we were dealing with. So once it was approved, it was everything started. It was fine. And we ran a presser that all the fake news that you've been reading has been fake, and GoFundMe has started releasing the funds. That was until 2 days ago. I believe it was mainstream media people. They were brigading the account and trying to mass report as many which triggers the algorithm.
Right.
And now we're going back and forth with GoFundMe again. But at least now we got a team of lawyers who flew in, so it's not going to be advantageous for GoFundMe to continue freezing.
Well, that'll be fun.
It's just going to cost us some money. Whatever.
That'll be fun, too, because your lawyers in Canada will have to pay for those silly wigs. They'll show up with their judges' robes. People don't realize here how it works. But let me ask you this. Well, first off, let me comment. I always tell Americans they don't fully understand when they bitch about corporate media. You just touched on CBC. Americans don't know that's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. The alternative is CBC, and that is government-run media. So you have government-run media putting pressure on a private organization, GoFundMe, to stop the funds for what? a mass uprising, a mass peaceful uprising protesting the government. Think of that. Protest the government. Government media says, GoFundMe, you better freeze these funds. What is it up to, by the way? How much have you guys raised in GoFundMe? It's many, many millions.
Last I checked, it was 10,100,000, and that's when they put the hard stop on it. So we can't receive any more funds. So I actually put a post out yesterday saying, should we actually start collecting funds with Bitcoin by any chance? And boom, people started sending me wallets saying, we've been collecting for you in Bitcoin already. And the last wallet I saw, I got to confirm it today, but it had something like $46,000 in Bitcoin already. Wow. So, where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah, but you're going to have to deal with the pain in the ass, all the crypto people. So like, you should really be doing Ethereum. It's like, shut up! All right. It's just they're going to be warring with each other, and there's one person like, hold on, I'll mine some more. Can you tell people here in the United States, because they see bits and pieces out of context.
Okay.
What is this about? I mean, it's obviously about protesting the vaccine mandate, but what is going on right now in Canada? I was raised there from 3 to 18, never experienced anything like this, which is going on, and I'm proud to see it. What do Americans need to know if they're just tuning in right now and they go, what's going on with Canada, truckers, something? Explain to them.
Okay, so we're protesting the vaccine mandate and the vaccine passport. So what is the vaccine passport? That means anytime you come into Canada, you're going to have this app downloaded into your phone, and it will track the status of your COVID shot. So if you need more shots and you don't get them, then you don't pass. You have to go back to the United States as a trucker, and you have to get a PCR test and wait whatever the period of time is, and then come back. But the other thing is, this affects you guys as well, because the Biden administration is implementing the same thing.
Right.
However, we know from our friends within politics and journalism, apparently the Biden administration, even the Biden administration, had zero interest in this. But the Trudeau government apparently lobbied the Biden administration and convinced them to adopt a similar process. We don't know why. We don't know if they're going to be sharing data across the border with people going into the U.S. and vice versa.
Yes.
But this is the basis of social credit. And I explained when I was on Tucker Carlson, the first time I used it, I drove up to the booth and I held up my passport. And the guy says to me, I don't need to see it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't need to see it? He said, well, when your truck drives up and it's within a certain vicinity of the border, all your details and information comes up on my computer, and it's correlated with your passport, so I can already see it. You don't have to show it to me. Great. So when are we going to start implementing that across every city in Canada and then ultimately the United States? Like, this is crazy draconian stuff.
Yeah, that's also tough for the booth operator because he's like, I got to close all my windows of porn. New truck came up. Now, let me ask, you had a question you're about to ask there, Gerald? Hold on, Gerald is here. Hold on, he has to ask it. We have so many questions for you. I appreciate you making the time. I mean, especially considering that you just had airbags going off in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Just proving that it's hard to drive on ice. Thank you for making that point for me from yesterday. But how long do you guys plan on staying? I know right now that there's been some. I know that the police were saying that they were going to break stuff up and ask people to leave or force people to leave or give tickets or tow. Like, what's the status of how many people are there right now as far as trucks and how long they intend on staying?
I don't know, 2024 maybe.
Until things change.
Have to. The thing is going around and building this narrative, white supremacist and a Confederate flag. It's Canada. We don't have Confederate
I know.
flag
I was just sitting. I was like, unless someone accidentally zoomed in on the English flag and distorted it, and like, it kind of looks like a Confederate flag. I guess they're Union Jack. But yeah, I saw it and immediately knew that it was a bad actor.
It's fairly north.
Well, the guy was wearing a black balaclava, and I automatically assumed, it's Justin Trudeau. It's got to be. I love that black on it,
especially because he was going, Dale! Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, we have some people on our command team. Like, we have a central command, and we have ex-military and ex-police officers there. So they know all the protocols of crowd control, making it safe, having emergency vehicle pathways. And in back and forth with the police over the past week and a half, they understand that as disorganized, because it just blew up and went parabolic, they understand that we're spending all of our time keeping everybody's morale up, making it the biggest block party in Canada's history. otherwise known as hashtag Trudeau's truck stop,
right
in front of his office. And it's a party atmosphere. It's great. It's so much fun.
Well, I wouldn't use the term block party because there's some members in Quebec who are like, hey, don't steal our name, Bloc Québécois, call this.
No, but Stephen, you'll understand this, and you explain this to the audience. When I first got there the first day, before everything started, so the pre-day, there were, I couldn't believe this, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people maybe, walking across the border from Quebec into Ottawa with Quebec flags and Ontario flags, and we saw them all going to meet up with people, truckers from Alberta and Saskatchewan and Regina and whatever, and they were all just hanging out.
Yeah,
they couldn't speak to each other. It was funny. They're trying to figure out how to speak English, how to speak French, but they're hugging each other. They're hanging out, and this is what happens when the media and our politicians get out of the way. You know what? People actually can unify. It was the most beautiful experience I've ever seen in all my time in Canada. It's like as though the Gavin Newsom Californians went to like Mississippi and decided to hold hands and unify together. It was amazing.
Well, you know what? I have still a lot of French-Canadian family, and a lot of people don't realize that northern Quebecers, once you go out of Montreal, they tend to be pretty conservative. Even the old separatists, a lot of it was based on some conservative ideas. They just sort of got it wrong. They thought that they were not being fairly represented in the taxation. But a lot of them, they're hunters up there. I mean, I have an uncle who hunts caribou, and they actually became big Trump fans. Think about that. Raymond Massé, who was like, man, I like Trump. Carlis, that man, he's a man, And I was like, man, these French Canadians, they really have changed. And here's one thing I want to point out, and I want to get back to, because we have a big portion of our audience that's Canadian, and I'd like you to tell us how we can help mobilize them too. But Americans don't fully understand this, when they say, oh, big tech, it's not censorship because it's not government. Look, for a place where we live, the United States, it's really pretty bad, and it's getting scary that they have these gatekeepers online. You see Spotify and Facebook and YouTube. But at least, even you just mentioned Tucker Carlson, there are still options, even in traditional media outlets. In a place like Canada, or people can exaggerate that and take a place like Venezuela, where your only source of news, when I was there, I know now you have like Rebel News, things like that, but your only source of news is government funded. The government telling big tech platforms who to remove is catastrophic, and there can be no protest. There can no longer be any civil disobedience. I don't think Americans realize it can all go away if the internet becomes this sort of authoritarian wasteland that we see Psaki and Joe Biden want.
Well, I think what's happening here is in terms of the fake news media, so CBC, Toronto Star, when we had our first press conference, I went on to Twitter, and Jordan Peterson put up that graphic that the Toronto Star published, and the CBC was publishing fake news articles about us all week. So I went on to Twitter and I said, all right, first press conference. CBC and the Toronto Star are banned from our first conference. And we've been bringing in all these, independent creators, social media people, who are, young, independent journalists. A couple people, one from the National Post and, True North and Epoch Times, but the rest of them were all independent creators. And I said to them, we sat down and I said, look, we're not going to have the CBC come in with their giant, phallic camera that's 30 feet tall and 50 people and take up all the floor space. This is for you guys. We'll be here as long as you want, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't care. You ask us anything. Let's have a dialogue and a conversation. And Andrew Lawton from True North Center, who's a fantastic journalist.
I know Andrew. I met him about 6 years ago, yeah.
Oh, you froze him.
Uh-oh.
It is Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say he's literally frozen as well. His digital assets as well as his asset.
Well,
they're all frozen.
His potatoes.
Let's see if we need to call him. Let's see if we need to hang up and call him back, because I want to tell people also, too, who are watching here in the United States and ask them about this. Again, this is how important it is to have an open and free internet and I don't just mean this as far as net neutrality and bandwidth. I'm talking about people being able to have a dialogue because that's how truth can get out. That's why you don't want to keep, let's say, Maduro on Twitter and get rid of a Donald Trump or get rid of a convoy, because what you end up with is there are a few videos going around with this right now, and I want to show a clip. Remember the Australia-style COVID camps?
Yeah.
They're seeing these being set up in places like British Columbia and Canada. Here's someone who actually filmed it. And of course, you don't see it on the Canadian-funded government broadcast. Here.
All right, so I've gone on a little trip, and I'm in the middle, almost geographically the middle of British Columbia, just west of Vanderhoof, and I'm I came across this. I'm like, what the hell? It's like a jail in the middle of nowhere. So if you don't believe it, wake the fuck up.
Oh.
So who are these for? Who are all these camps for? And why is there electric fences? Electric fence and barbed wire. It's a frickin' prison.
That is absolutely terrifying. I think we lost BJ Dichter, but you know what? The guy already gave us enough time, and we're running late as it is. People, you can follow him at BJ Dichter. We'll have the information for if it's the GoFundMe or Bitcoin, whatever it is, we're going to make sure that we have it available. Link in the description where you guys can go and support them. Almost 10% of our audience is Canadian.
Yeah.
So we'll also be talking about this more. This is something that hopefully ends up being mirrored in the United States. And isn't it insane when you just think of how the media here and Trudeau, he said, for example, I'll meet with people who I agree with. Black Lives Matter was an excellent example of this. That's not how democracy works. That's not how a constitutional republic works. The whole point is to have conversations with people you disagree. And by the way, especially if they're peaceful. So you were kneeling for people who were violent. And by people, I mean some, but certainly more than zero, which is what you're seeing from this convoy. Zero acts of violence whatsoever. But you don't meet with these folks. And all these folks are asking is that you don't force upon them a digital coding software, that you don't spy on them. The other activists are demanding that you, depending which country you're in, destroy the nuclear family, reparations, reallocate resources from white businesses to black businesses. Simple stuff, racist stuff. These people are saying, just don't stick a needle in us and make us have to have a digital passport, eh? And if you have to, just don't make the numbers 6 and then 6 and another 6.
That's an easy ask. I mean, go with 7s.
That's about the. All right. Well, look, I guess we'll tease it out. This has been BJ Dichter, and we'll have him on again next week.
Yeah, there we go.
God, that's terrifying.
Nice fella.
And people don't realize. I've never seen anything like that in Canada when I was raised there.
By the way, I love their response to it, though. And I love that it was truck drivers who were like, all right, that's enough. And like you said, it should be mirrored in the United States. I think it is being mirrored right now. There are plans, I think, in the works to do something like this in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God. Somebody has to stand up to
Well, then they get removed from Facebook, though.
No, I know.
That's the problem, so you can't mobilize. But now, think about this. It's the government saying, hey, you need to do more. AOC, right? We just talked about. I feel like I know I'm being repetitive, but I hope I drill this in your skull. Do you see the magnitude of elected representatives here in the United States telling these platforms what to allow and what to ban?
Yeah.
Is the Freedom Convoy to D.C. with 130? What's the misinformation there? There hasn't even been a reason given at the time of this broadcast. I'm sure they'll trump up some charges.
Yeah.
The government says, hey, they're not allowed. And people are saying, we're going to go out and protest the government. And Facebook says, no, you're not. Now, I get it. They can allow, but one side can plan riots and burning down Walgreens on all digital platforms. The other one has to hand out physical flyers in their neighborhood, like lost and founds, to gather peacefully and make their voices heard. That's no longer freedom.
Yeah, and politicians aren't bailing these truckers out like they were with BLM or having Kamala Harris say, they should be bailed out and back on the streets, right? We're contributing to that fund.
Right.
You're helping facilitate what they're doing.
That your country has laws does not make it free. Are these laws applied equally?
Yeah.
And right now they're having these bullies, these thugs in the big tech realm enforcing their laws selectively, and that's a problem. You're about to say something there, Dave.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But I got your point. Do you think Windsor is a bit different, though, than that part of Canada?
Well, he's in Ottawa. I mean, Canada is just, it's here's the problem with Canada.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm surprised by it. You do have a country whose history is bowing to the royalty. That's going to have a very different culture than the United States who fought off the royalty. And so just like, people talk about gun crime in Japan, they say, well, in Japan they ban guns, there's no gun crime. You're talking about people who were under the thumb of imperialism, and that's their culture, right? You can't compare the Japanese culture to the United States culture. And by the way, it comes with serious ramifications that Americans would not want to have to live with, including rampant racism. But that being said, you do have Canadians who are very polite and kind of go along. They're not nearly as disruptive. This is a really big, uncomfortable step for people in Canada. Yeah. In the United States, we're used to protests like this. In Canada, they usually never even get started. So it's a big deal.
They only get started when they win the championships in hockey. So
well, they riot whether they win or lose.
Well, now,
yeah,
but
but they're happy riots.
Yeah.
I don't understand a happy riot. We won! Let's burn the car!
It's when riots are mostly peaceful.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Where have you been
Where's
for the
the
last
Labatt?
2 years?
Yeah, well, that's actually what happened in Montreal. They won. The Canadians lost the Stanley Cup, and if they won the Stanley Cup, there was a riot. And I remember laughing my ass off watching it, where a guy on camera, this is me as a child, I just remember laughing like they were rioting. The guy was on top of a cop car.
Yeah.
He busts a Levi's store window, grabs a stack of jeans, and the CBC was there, and he goes, woo! And he's drunk. And then another guy who is larger than him walks on the hood of the cop car and takes the stack from him and walks away. And that guy's like, hey! And he's looking for a police officer. I'm going, that's the law. That's how it works.
Yeah. You just stole
I
it
need
from
to
that guy.
report my stolen goods.
Yes, exactly. They've been restolen, officer.
Yes.
Well, it's just like, when Black Lives Matter, they say, and then you shouldn't have guns. Well, what do? We call the racist cops. All right, thank you. I appreciate that circular non-logic. Hey, before actually, you know what? Let me try and hit this story here.
Okay.
The other day, Neil Young, he was being an asshole.
Well,
but it turns out he has a long history of that. And actually, thanks to Dave and some people in the research team here, we found some of his horrible tweets that would, warrant getting anybody else canceled.
Not him.
Not Neil Young.
No, of course not.
Because Joe Rogan, interviewing doctors is more problematic than this direct quote from Neil Young in an interview with Melody Maker in 1985. He backed Reagan's gun control policies, and he said this of AIDS: you go to a supermarket and you see I don't even know if I can say this word, fag and then gut behind the fucking cash register. You don't want him to handle your potatoes. And there are more, by the way. All references available at latteroscarter.com.
Quoting him.
I'm quoting him directly.
You don't want to catch AIDS? Come on.
I'm quoting the great Neil Young, but I don't know if this shouldn't have come as a surprise.
Yeah.
Because if you've actually heard the original lyrics to After the Gold Rush, we did some digging, and we found this old nightclub recording of Neil Young.
Hey guys, it's me, Neil Young, and I want to thank you for your support. I got a song here I'm going to sing about something I said in 1985. I'm here to fight Spotify, as you know. I just want you to know that some things are not about money. Some things are about the truth. And it's important to fight misinformation. All right? Here we go.
I get scared when I go to buy potatoes and the cashier is a queen.
No. You know what? There's no way we're going to be able to play this on YouTube. And I don't want to take the heat for. I can take the heat for things that I say.
Yeah.
I don't want to get struck on YouTube for stuff that Neil Young said.
No, that Neil Young literally said.
And you know what? Here's the thing. I support his right to say it.
Right.
But I don't like it's a little too far.
It's a bit too much.
Neil Young it's a little too much.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Burr is watching going like,
oh man, wow.
Yeah, like, come on, dude, it's just potatoes.
Pull it back a little bit, okay?
Yeah. Maybe Spike Lee will make a film about it. But you know what? We have the full recording.
Yeah.
Thank you, BJ Dichter. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button.
Yeah.
And comment below. The best thing you can do for the algorithm is comment. But hitting the like helps as well. And let me know. I know he's trying to hit both things. Let me know if you want to see us continue the Mug Clubhouse, because we stopped that because it was way too high budget. And unless enough of you vote below, then we're just going to stop it. Let's finish the Neil Young, but not here. YouTube, this is for your own good. Piss off.